I think people should stop beating up on the administration so much, because no matter how it ended, everyone wasn't going to be happy with the way it ended.
Welcome to this week's Wacky Moments of Leftist Extremism. Reality has always been, well, real for most of us. But this week, after flash floods, the leftist news nuts had to push their climate change agenda, and reality became extreme.
And I think the question we now will have is, how do we live sustainably? How do we make permeable roads? How do we live in this new extreme reality?
Yes, not only is reality extreme, it's pretty darn real. Unlike the reporting at ABC's Good Morning America.
The chair on our front porch got flipped, and it was nuts.
In Horsham, Pennsylvania, the storm uprooting trees, tipping semis, and in Allegheny County, 41 people, mostly students, in this bus rescued. Attributing the frequency of these extreme rainfall events to human-caused climate change.
Human-caused climate change. Not just climate change, because it's clearly not extreme reality unless it's human-caused. That to the leftist media is not debatable. But what is debatable to them is if having a human heartbeat actually makes you a human. Watch CBS This Morning on Thursday as they react to the Supreme Court refusing to halt the Texas bill banning abortion after 6 weeks.
The Texas law bans abortion once a so-called fetal heartbeat is detected, usually around 6 weeks.
What? The so-called fetal heartbeat?
The Texas law bans abortion once a so-called fetal heartbeat is detected.
Perhaps they haven't heard that 100% of scientists agree that an unborn baby's heartbeat is a fetal heartbeat. It just isn't extreme reality enough for them, I guess. CBS This Morning is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Give them a call and let them know the extreme reality of their advertising practices. Now, it is worth noting that CBS This Morning, they couldn't take the time to mention anything going on with Biden's Afghanistan disaster that day. No coverage, just, we have to explain so-called fetal heartbeats and some of those other very important news items.
Ahead, new information about a huge effort to stop young people from spending too much time playing video games. See how some people in China have to go into detox. We'll be right back.
Wow. NBC's Today Show on Thursday followed suit. No coverage of Afghanistan, no need to see the Taliban parade of U.S. military equipment, or even mention those that have been left behind. At NBC, they have important news to cover.
And Broadway revival, 18 months after shutting down for the pandemic, the Great White Way bouncing back in a big way. Inside the popular shows ready to reopen that have theater fans everywhere rejoicing. Today, Thursday, September 2nd, 2021.
Everything's a song and a dance. Just don't look over here at Biden's Afghanistan. On CNN, Don Lemon pleads for you to get over it. Just stop beating up on Biden.
I think people should stop beating up on the administration so much, because no matter how it ended, everyone wasn't going to be happy with the way it ended. So if there's any silver lining in this, it's going to be what happens going forward. You can't change the past.
So move on from Afghanistan, will you? Stop blaming Joe. MSNBC doesn't want to even hold Democrats responsible for anything. They want you to blame and fear Republicans instead. Joy Reid and her hair take us on a trip to Crazy Town this week over California's gubernatorial recall election.
The thing that's keeping me up, a lot is keeping me up lately, but the thing that's really keeping me up is the idea of a super Texas in California. Larry Elder being governor of California means that in theory, if Dianne Feinstein were to retire, he could replace her, probably with Stephen Miller in the United States Senate. All that could go wrong, and just unleashing COVID to run rampant through the population of 39.5 million people. How likely is this to happen in your view?
You see, unless Democrats are in charge, you're doomed. It will be a nightmare.
It's Republicans that are the most enthusiastic. They are amped up to turn California into a super Texas or a super Florida, which would essentially tank the economy of California, cause a health crisis, destroy climate change, any attempts to stop climate change. I mean, it would be a nightmare.
Just watch an entire segment of that leftist insanity. A panel consisting of Democratic Rep. Karen Bass, Joy Reid, and Christine Pelosi. That is pure nightmare fuel. Well, now that you won't sleep tonight, you might as well head over to the MRC Store and purchase some great conservative gear. Check out all the stories on MRCTV.org. Be sure to like and subscribe to these videos on the various social media platforms, especially on the Rumble Battle Board, where we've recently been able to appear. Now, I'm Eric Shannon from MRC TV, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with more leftist media madness.